If you are feeling overwhelmed by the process of quitting porn and masturbation and you're not exactly sure what to focus on, then this video just might change your life, because I'm going to tell you the 3 things that you should focus on after the many years of me helping men just like yourself quit porn and masturbation. This is a lesson from one of our programs that I'm giving to you just for you, totally for free. Don't worry, I have nothing to sell you. Please enjoy and let me know if you like it. All right. During this journey of porn recovery, sexual integrity training, there's a lot going on, right? Like, trust me, I know exactly what it's like to have a porn addiction and to beat it. I know exactly the ups and downs, the emotional roller coaster, the feeling great when you start a program and then you're kind of feeling down, and then you're kind of unsure of like what you should do, where you should go. Maybe you have a little bit of a nuanced situation where you kind of feel like you're into kind of weird types of porn, or you don't have clarity, or you have questions about, you know, your future or where you should focus your energy. There's a lot going on, right? So I'm making this lesson because I want to make it really simple for you. I want to give you these objectives as kind of pillars and lenses to look through your situation, regardless of what uncertainty you might have at any point in your journey. If you look through your situation in your life through these lenses, then it'll help you make a better judgment and have a more clear framework as to how to proceed, all right? So the 3 lenses and the 3 objectives are: number 1, have integrity. Have integrity. Number 2, be honest. Be honest. Number 3, be seen. Be seen. Of course, I'm going to talk about all these, right? So, so number 1, have integrity. Now, integrity is something we throw around all the time. You hear it all the time, especially from me. But let's define integrity really simply, okay? Integrity is having your values and your actions aligned. It's the man that you want to be, and the man that you are today is the same. And when you are in that situation, in that state of being, that is having integrity. Now, let's be real. The reason that you're here is because this dissonance and torment between who you want to be and who you are today, that gap is so big, that gap has so much dissonance that's causing you pain, and it's causing you this desire to get help and to change. This is why people who have no values, people who have no vision for their lives, don't struggle with PMO, and they just think, oh, it's fine, it's natural, and they can go every single day watching porn, have even more of a severe addiction than you do probably, but they don't do anything and they don't care. It's because they have no values. It's because they have no vision for their lives, and therefore there's no discrepancy and there's no dissonance between their values and their being here today. So that's the best question you can ask yourself when you're struggling, when you're knee deep in a porn watching session, or you're struggling your brains off because you found yourself at the edge of the cliff and you're ready to act out, and you're making all the justifications possible of, oh, it's okay in moderation, oh, it's okay occasionally, every man on planet Earth is doing it, what's so bad about it? This is the single best, in my experience, in my opinion, the single best thing you can tell yourself is, because as long as you have porn in your life, you are not living with integrity. Okay, let's be real. The reason you're here, my friend, is because you have values that are high. You have a vision that is clear to you, but having this habit is not in line with where you want to go in your life, and that's why you're here. And that's why it causes you shame. That's what causes shame and guilt. It's because the dissonance between who you want to be and where you want to be, where you are today. Your words and your actions are not in line, and that's creating this torment in your heart. All right? So, that is why you're here, my friends. It's because you want to be a man of integrity. Regardless of what you say, regardless of whether you like that word or not, whether it causes you to feel excitement or torment, whatever it is, that is why you're here, and that's what you need, and that's the solution, okay? Like I said, this is the single best reason, in my experience and opinion, to eliminate porn from your life. It's not for any other reason than that. As long as this is in your life even a little bit, you're not living with integrity. There are many reasons to have porn, but for me, this has been the most powerful, especially when you're really struggling. This is like a trump card that I play. It's like, if I watch this one video, or do this one Google search, or watch this one YouTube video that I shouldn't, I'm not living with integrity, and that's the most painful part of all. That's the most painful thing to me, and that's why I don't do it, right? Okay, so having integrity as an objective is important because it allows you to ask yourself, what do I want? When you're really face to face with a decision, right? Like, do I do this? Do I, do that? Do I masturbate occasionally without porn? Or, common question people have, do I just watch this type of porn because it's okay? Can I watch porn once a month or once a year and just let that be all right? Do I do this or that? If you look through the lens of what do I want? Is this what I want in my life? Okay, and that's why I ask people when they're face to face with a decision of masturbation. It was like, can I masturbate without porn? Like, well, you could. Like, you can do anything. It's a free country. But ask yourself, is that what you want? How do you feel when you masturbate? Like, honestly, how do you feel afterwards? Do you feel, that was awesome, I'm gonna go take on the world, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna go on a date? It's like, no. Most people feel terrible, totally deflated after watching, after masturbating even, right? So is it where you want to go? Probably not, all right? And the other reason that is important is because every day you have an opportunity to live with integrity. Every day you have an opportunity to decide to be a man of integrity. Regardless of what you did yesterday, if you made a mistake, if you made a misstep, had a relapse, slipped up, today you can get back on the saddle and say, today I'm going back in integrity. Today I'm going to live up to who I want to be. And my words and my actions will be aligned, all right? So that's pillar number one. Ask yourself, do I have integrity? At all times, ask yourself, do I have integrity? If I don't, that's okay. Now I have an opportunity to live with integrity, all right? Objective number two, be honest, okay? Now we throw honesty around as well, but I want to define honesty in a more deep sense, okay? Instead of just the typical sense of like somebody's honest, like that guy's really honest, he's brutally honest, is usually somebody that's associated with being brash or unnecessarily open about stuff, and they just kind of say whatever they want. When I say honest, I don't mean honest necessarily with other people, but more importantly, honest with yourself. We say that addicts make the best liars, and that's true, right? You know very well. But that also means that addicts are not the best liars to others, but also to ourselves. Many times we do lie to ourselves. So be honest means, am I honest with myself? Am I really peeling back my situation to the point where I can actually honestly assess myself with an honest point of view? And that's the second pillar and second objective here. So what does being honest look like? Let's go through some examples, all right? Let's say an example is you're arguing with your wife, or I'm arguing with my wife, I'm having a big argument. Now, if I was really honest with myself and asking, okay, what's going on here? I could just say, she's on her time of the month and she's just being, unloving and uncaring and she's the worst, right? That's one way to look at it, right? That's honest in a traditional sense. But if you're asking yourself a little deeper, you can ask yourself, like, and keep the spotlight on myself and think, why is it that I'm experiencing this? Why is it that I'm experiencing maybe disappointment in my wife? Why am I experiencing this kind of tormenting disapproval in myself or in my wife? And if I'm really honest, in many times in my own life, it was like, well, because I feel like I just am a bad husband. And when I feel like I'm a bad husband and I feel like my wife is unhappy, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm failing. And I've shared this a lot in the videos because this was a very personal thing for me, right? And that's a really honest look at what's going on. Then I ask myself, well, why do I feel that? I was like, well, because my whole life has been based on if I'm being approved of or am I being disapproved of? Am I worthy of acceptance and approval, or am I failing? And that's been my whole life. And that's how I perceive my life, right? And that's a really honest look at the situation, right? Another situation is like, you're stressed from work. I'm really stressed from work right now. Okay, why am I stressed from work? Well, it could say, because my boss is the worst. my boss is the worst, and I have this big deadline coming up, and I hate deadlines, and making all these excuses, right? Or I can say, well, I feel a lot of stress and anxiety because of work, because I feel like if I don't do well in work, if I don't live up to the expectations that are placed upon me by my boss, then I might lose my job. I'm afraid of that. And I'm afraid that if I lose my job, then I might be seen as a failure or less than, or my parents might disapprove of me, or I feel like my financial situation will go down the drain, and then I'll be left on the street. Like, I have a deep fear in that, that's not me personally, but that's a reason that people experience stress and anxiety from work, right? So that's being honest and being a little deeper with myself. If you have anxiety about your future, let's say, you're not sure what's going to happen with your marriage or with your children, you're not sure what's going to happen with your health, you have no idea, and you feel a lot of anxiety about that, about your finances. Why do I feel this anxiety? Well, I guess because I feel insecure, and I feel like I don't have the skills to pick myself up, And that's a really honest look at yourself, and that's being honest, right? Another example that's common, I feel really bored. It's the weekend, I've got no work, no school, I feel so bored, I just want to goof around online. I'm kind of tempted to go back and watch porn, but I'm definitely going to go play video games and go on social media, right? Why do I feel bored? Well,
It's because honestly, ever since I can remember teenagehood, even before that, I never knew how to not be bored. And every time I was bored, I always went to some kind of stimulant to not be bored. And I don't know how to just sit on the toilet without my phone. I don't know how to go on a walk without listening to music or a podcast and just enjoy the nature. I don't know how to sit down on my porch without doing something. And I've never learned how to just be. And that's the situation, okay? Now, this is being honest. Like, this is really, really being honest. So what happens when we're not honest with ourselves? And let's be real, until now, you haven't been really honest with yourself. And this is what we're getting into in this program, is until now, it's reasonable to say you've been lying to yourself. Or let's say your brain has been lying to you. And I know that might be a big pill to swallow, but many times our brains are the enemy. You know, the dopamine effect is really real. It's super real. And your brain will make every justification possible, especially when you're most vulnerable, to keep you back in the habit, to keep you addicted even a little longer. But when you're honest with yourself, what happens? When you're truly honest, then you start to take the right steps and go in the right direction. All right, so that's objective number 2. Be honest. Am I honest with myself? Objective number 3 is to be seen. Ask myself, am I seen? Am I being seen? Now, this is actually the most critical part of this whole thing, because unless you're getting this part, you're not learning. I promise you, you might just have to trust me with this. If you're not getting this part of being seen by people for who you are, regardless of your mistakes, then you're not going to change. And this is exactly why you have a habit in the first place. This is why men develop addictions, is because they haven't experienced acceptance and grace in their lives. And they keep hiding and feeling shame and spiraling out of control because of this fear and guilt and shame, to the point that it's impossible to live your life. It's impossible to even believe that somebody would accept you. And I experience this all the time, where men that I'm working with, are afraid to tell me honestly how they're doing with their porn habit, because they're afraid that I'm going to judge them. They're afraid that I'm going to attack them. They're afraid that I'm going to think of them lesser, that I'm going to attack them and be disgusted in them if I find out, their deep emotional issues, right? But I'm here to tell you that I and many people in your life have nothing but love and acceptance and grace. And on top of that, you don't have to tell anybody about your porn habit, right? You don't, okay? Okay, so what does being seen mean? It means telling somebody, friend, a mentor, family member, anybody, about your deep emotional unpleasantness or lack of peacefulness in your emotions that you feel, negative emotions if you want to call it that, and being able to tell those to the right people that are going to listen to you and not judge you and accept you and appreciate you, right? And I'll promise you that they're actually more common than you might think. They might not be the people that are in your life right now, but they're there and they're out there. And the name of the game is finding them, creating a wider clan and support system, a safety net of people that can be there when you feel these emotions, when you need somebody to go to, right? So examples of these people is a friend, maybe a good friend that you always can rely. You can think about it right now. Like, who is the friend that comes to mind when you think you just want to tell the most important things in your life? Like, you got a raise, or you had a baby, or you're getting married, right? Who do you want to invite to your wedding? Like, those people. Who do you want to go camping with? Like, who do you want to genuinely spend more time with? What mentors do you have in your life? Older uncle figures or aunt figures in your life that you can really share openly about your emotional state and have them accept you and give you grace and appreciation, right? Maybe you do have a family member that you can develop this kind of relationship with. Maybe it's not there yet. In my example, my relationship with my dad was not something that I would openly share my emotions with, but I developed into that relationship even just within a few months or a few weeks even of talking with him every week. We developed this relationship where we felt comfortable sharing about how we're doing, right? So when you do this and you are seen by people, what is available to you is grace, acceptance, love, unconditionally from the right people. When you experience grace, acceptance, love, and unconditional appreciation from people, then you will feel full, and that's being seen. And let me reiterate and emphasize that the reason that you have a porn habit is because you have been afraid to share yourself with people. You've been feeling shameful of your habit, and therefore it's causing you to kind of spiral out of control. And what's the easiest way to escape this feeling of shame and guilt and lack of integrity in your life? You know the answer. The easiest way to escape is through porn. And that's why it's spiraling out of control. And this is exactly why people who are high, have high religious morality or moral values are very, very susceptible to addictions to porn. It's because of the shameful nature of porn, the sexual nature of porn, and the fact that they're not willing to share openly with people. Let me finish this video by just reminding you that you don't have to tell anybody about your porn habit. You don't. I think there should be a few people in your life that know about it and that know that you have the habit, especially if you're married, or especially if you have parents that you can talk to, that they should know that this is something that's in your life, that you're getting help and you're changing, but they don't have to know the details about it. All they have to know is that you have a deep emotional issue, as all of us do, that you're trying to address. And the conversation can be as simple as, hey, wife, hey, mom, dad, friend, mentor, today I'm feeling really, really stressed because of work. And when I'm stressed, I don't handle it so well, and I don't like being stressed. And I think the reason I'm feeling stressed is because I have a deep anxiety and insecurity about my work and how I'm doing as a worker. And I feel like if I don't have this job, and I feel like if I'm fired for whatever reason, that I'm going to be looked down upon and disapproved of by people. And that's how I feel. That's being honest, guys. That's as simple as it is. And if you tell the right person, they'll say, interesting. They'll listen to you. And if it's the wrong person, you'll know immediately that they're the wrong person, because they're going to judge you, they're going to argue with you, they're going to tell you you're wrong and you're stupid, but chances are you're smart enough to know who the right people are. And that's the name of the game. I promise you, you will not recover, you will not progress unless you find more people in your life to share this with. And it only takes one person. Maybe start there. It only takes one person that you feel like you can consistently share with how you're doing emotionally, okay? Anyways, remember the 3 objectives. Have integrity, be honest, and be seen. When in doubt, go back to this lesson. Am I having integrity at all times? Am I being honest with myself and with others? And am I being seen for who I am genuinely? And if you do that, you will see progress. I love you guys. Lots of love. Take care.